This story starts with sailors who sacrifice two women to save their ship. They ask one of these women to jump into the sea. She can't even believe that she can die so easily. She just boarded this ship to meet her fiancé. She ended up being pushed by the second woman. The sailors did not understand what it was, and the girl who pushed her said she would jump too. The brunette doesn't understand why the woman pushed her, but suddenly she swims up to her and saves her. The woman recognized her by her trident tattoo. She thought there were sailors on the warship. The waitress said that if a disaster happens, they are obliged to save people. She was asked if she saved the passenger out of a sense of duty, but the waitress honestly admitted that she did it for the money. If the company finds out about her feat, she will be promoted. She showed that she was wearing a wetsuit. She made it from a discarded sail. It's waterproof. The man asks her to change her clothes for now. Because that girl sneezed, they were distracted by her. The waitress introduces herself and calls herself Sella. Sella doesn't understand why she's so afraid of her. The main character of the novel is called a duchess who fled to the sea. Selacardi is a waitress on a passenger ship, and according to the plot, she was supposed to die as a minor character. But for the sake of survival, she saved the heroine Maria. Ever since Sella woke up in this world, she had been developing a plan. She wants to save Maria from mortal danger and receive a reward for it. Then she wants to buy a house by the sea in a small boat. And until the story ends, she plans to hide there. Even when she lost her parents, the sea supported her. To see the depths, the heroine learned to dive. Sella tells Maria that when she fell into the sea, she was barely breathing. Maria thought she saw a creature like a siren, but Sella lies that it was a dream, because she can't know that she is using powers. Sella asks Maria to hide her origin. It's all because of Elaim, the novel's main villain. Elam rescued Maria from the sea, but upon learning of her noble origins, he collected the debt from her with interest. But he is lenient towards common people. They say he always demands payment for his help. Maria is going to reveal her identity, because the admiral allowed her to get on the ship. Sella realizes that this is the real Maria. She needs to find a way to break her stubbornness. Sella asked what if the admiral demanded her life. She deliberately hid Maria's identity to protect her. In the end, she decided that it would be easier for her to die. Even by saving a life, she gets nothing good. Maria asks her not to say that she will die, but Sella asks to be buried by the sea if she dies. Maria agrees to do everything she said. Admiral Elim's assistant, Russell, comes to see him. He asks the admiral to turn on the light, as it is dark here. Russell knows the admiral has been reading the letters again. He asks Elim to look at the report and then rest. The enemy ship was sunk by their attack. One of the survivors was wearing a wetsuit. Russell explained that it was clothing for underwater swimming. Russell questioned her, but she answered very strangely. But Elim said he would do it himself. According to reports, the woman swam hundreds of meters while carrying the unconscious man. It's hard to believe that she's just an ordinary waitress on a ship. Suddenly, the sailors informed them that a stekel had appeared. He attacked a fishing boat, leaving only one fisherman alive. Now the stekel has disappeared into the underwater depths. To catch up with her, you will have to abandon the fisherman and act immediately. Sella and Maria heard some noise outside. They heard that there were fish overboard. Sella heard that they had decided to leave the fisherman. There are strong waves now, which makes the situation more dangerous. If the fleet can do nothing, then Sella herself will save the fisherman. She jumps into the water, and everyone sees it. Sella must save the fisherman at any cost. She uses the oxygen tank skill. Surely it is for moments like these that magic has awakened. 2 months ago, she was reincarnated in a novel, where she was caught in a storm and washed out to sea. She remembered her cherished dream of living by the sea. She had a dream, but her past life was suddenly cut short. In her new life, she forgot about it and existed without a purpose. And when she thought about what she needed to survive, she used this magic. The admiral orders the immediate rescue of the waitress and the fisherman. Elim suddenly sensed magic from the depths of the sea. Magic like his, and the aura is getting closer and closer. Finally, Sella surfaced, rescuing the fisherman. The admiral helps her drag the man onto the ship. He notices a familiar glow, the same as his. Touching Sella made his headache go away. He doesn't understand how she can use the same magic as him. Suddenly, Sella lost consciousness. And when I woke up, I didn't understand where I was. The admiral said she was in the infirmary and had been unconscious for 2 days. The fisherman came to, and the military doctor said that Stella had lost consciousness due to severe fatigue. Sel can't believe this man brought her here. She saved the fisherman because she wanted to save him. If Sella had turned away, he would have died. He asked her what she would do once they got off the ship. Sella must return to the passenger liner. There she can often see the sea. She likes the clear sea that can be seen when sailing far from the shore. The admiral has such a pleasant voice that she continues the conversation without even noticing it. Elim believes that such talent should not be wasted working on a passenger liner. He wants to recruit her into the Navy, but Sela doesn't want to because they have no freedom and a small salary. After that, she suddenly fell asleep. The admiral just wanted to tell her to think about it. Sela is so strange that I want to keep her close to get to know her better. 3 days later, they arrived at Port Herbert. The sailors see Sela off with smiles on their faces. She even feels a little awkward about it. She is caught up by Russell, who has an urgent message for her. Sela asked what happened. He gives her the knife, which he promised to return, and the money for saving the fisherman. Sela had a bad feeling about this. Russell still has some things to explain to her. He says the admiral offered her a job. Sela realized that this was the same man with the pleasant voice. Sela asked if the admiral had come to see her in the infirmary. This is the first time Elim has visited the infirmary in person. Sela realized that her peaceful life at sea was about to end. She decides to refuse his offer. But they will provide dormitory accommodation, and the fees will be higher. Sela asks that you tell the admiral that she declines the offer. She said that she was very grateful to them for everything. Russell asks her to come back if she changes her mind. Sela can't believe she seems like such a valuable asset. Soon they arrived in the Duchy of Herbert. Now all that remains is for Sela to receive her reward from the Duke. Maria said that because of her disappearance, they were unable to properly prepare for the wedding. The Duke and her parents were worried about her. Maria always put others before herself and did not show how hard it was for her. The Duke is the main character of the novel and Elam's sworn enemy. Maria and the Duke fell in love at first sight. They both mistakenly believe that their love is unrequited. Maria is worried about what the Duke will think of her. Sela asks her not to be sad and offers to make a bet. She asks her to bet that the Duke doesn't like her, and Sela bets that the Duke loves her in return. And the loser gets a flick on the wrist from the winner. When they met, the Duke was completely worried. Maria apologized for causing concern. Sela won, her matchmaking talents are good. She told the Duke that she wanted to buy a house in Moulton. It is a seaside town in Mediterranean style. Living alone, without a family, can be dangerous, but Sela simply adores the sea. The Duke doesn't know if he's doing the right thing by bringing this madwoman close to him. Maria also wants to help her make her dream come true, because Sela saved her. The Duke realizes that Maria would not have survived if it were not for Sela. In the end, the Duke agreed to help buy the house, but in return, he asks to conceal what happened to Maria. After all, the Duke doesn't want her reputation to be ruined. Sela is ready to do anything for Lady Maria. The Duke shares the money, which is more than enough to buy a house. Sela is happy, she thanks him. Maria is in debt to Sela again, but she said that everything is fine. She wants to give Sela a modest gift. This is a blue diamond that Maria gives as a contribution. It looks like a wedding present. Sela will consider this a bonus for a job well done. Sela will take advantage of this with gratitude. Maria asks her to use this to make her dream come true. Sela, like the admiral, can use magic. She loves the sea and has good judgment. Suddenly, Elim's nose started bleeding. He falls down feeling that same headache. Russell asked the admiral if he had to listen to the report now, if he was feeling unwell. But Elim assures that everything will pass soon. Russell doesn't like the fact that he hasn't had a vacation for over a year. Elim asks not to make him repeat the same thing. Russell gives him a report on Sela's life. Sela was orphaned early and raised by her evil uncle. The uncle appropriated the entire family inheritance for himself and illegally enriched himself at the expense of the family's funds. He lives in a safe area with good security. She needs to be moved to a safer place. Russell wonders why Elim decided to recruit Sela, because there are very few magicians like them left. The powers that be will try to take away their magic or kill them, so he can't ignore that fact. It's just an excuse to keep Sela close and protected. The person Sela saved turned out to be the Duke's fiancée. As a reward, the Duke generously rewarded Sela. Elim said that Sela would have to pay for the loss herself. All things are packed. Now Sela can set off on her journey. Suddenly, someone asked her where she was going. The owner of this place asks her to pay rent. He always makes fun of everyone. He's a dirty guy. He doesn't like the way Sela is staring at him. He asked her where she got such expensive clothes. Sela is not going to put up with this anymore. She gathered her strength and hit the man. Sela asks him how much is left of the deposit. He replied that it was 10 pounds. She gives him the rent money and deducts 10 pounds from the deposit a week later. There are no more debts or money issues between them. Sela bids him farewell, saying that his hair fell out because of his vile life. Now, Sela will no longer be able to bother the residents in this hole. On the way to the hotel, she saw Siren in the window. The saleswoman said the store was closed, but Sela just watched. The woman didn't notice how she stumbled and began to fall. Sela manages to run up and catch her. The saleswoman managed to notice how Sela admired Serena through the glass. Old sailors believed that when they saw a siren, their day would become happy. The sirens are said to have disappeared long ago, but perhaps they live somewhere deep in the ocean. The woman gives Sela a siren symbol that brings good luck. She may consider this as gratitude for her help. But the next day, it suddenly started pouring with rain. Sela didn't think the weather could be such a hindrance. To lift her spirits, she decided to go to an expensive restaurant. There are a lot of people here because a famous opera singer will be performing here today. Everyone came here in couples with their loved ones. But Sela tries not to pay attention to it. Soon the opera singer's performance began. Sela is even glad that she didn't leave today. Suddenly, she heard a familiar voice behind her. It turned out to be an admiral who asked if he could join her. Sela was surprised that he seemed to know her. His face and voice seemed familiar to her. But if she had seen such a face, she definitely would not have been able to forget it. Elam says they have met 3 times already. He told when they saw each other. And Sela quickly realized that it was the admiral. He asked if she had made an agreement with the Duke to deceive him. Because the admiral hid Maria, he suffered great losses. If Sela had not hidden Maria's identity, she would have been taken hostage. But now the situation has changed a little, and Elam calls it a loss. But maybe the admiral can forgive this. So he offers Sela a deal. If Sela doesn't listen to his offer, he will continue to pursue her. So first she will listen, and then decide what to do. Elam wants to hire Sela. If she agrees, she will have to serve on a warship. But Sela doesn't understand why he's so insistent on hiring her. The admiral cannot answer this question here. She will work within his field of vision and can do whatever she wants. But Sela asked what if she wanted to become a sea parasite. This is a carefree person who does nothing. After all, her dream is to live a carefree life on the coast. Surprisingly, the admiral agreed. He said it was his first time hiring a seal. Sela asks him to tell her at least a little bit why he wants to hire her. With her, Elam's pain becomes less. He also said that she seemed to smell like lemon. Soon, the waitress brings them cheesecake. Sela will have to provide an endless supply of cheesecakes. The waitresses are discussing how handsome the admiral is. Sela's salary will be higher, and she will live in a safe area. From her experience, Sela realized that nothing in the world is free. She is sure that the reason why Elam wants to hire her is related to magic. At worst, he might use her as a test subject. Sela decided to say directly that she absolutely did not want to work for him. She is comfortable alone and does not want to work for any organization. Since Admira is a famous person, there are always a lot of people around him. Suddenly, he felt pain in his head again. It seems something happened inside the banquet hall. Sela asked in horror if Elam was okay. He said there was a gas explosion. A fire has started and people are panicking. It is impossible to go outside because of the severe storm. The admiral orders everyone to evacuate to the lobby. He didn't look very well, but he still rushed to help. But now, by the way, Elam will not be able to pursue Sela. If she slips out of the hotel, no one will notice. But she doesn't know how to escape from such chaos. She doesn't want to see in the newspapers later how seriously people were hurt. So she decided to hurry to help Elam. A little later, Sela brought a fire hose. The admiral has already saved several people, and Sela learned that he was still in the boiler room. It would be strange if the novel's main villain died in such a place. At the same moment, Elam comes out of the boiler room. The hose is ready, and people have started putting out the fire. Now Elam doesn't look like a cold-blooded person at all. He said that this alone would not put out the fire. The room inside is large, but there is only one entrance. There is another way out, and he wants Sela to help him. Just a minute ago, she was thinking about how to run away, just to avoid getting involved with him. But Sela wants to know what the admiral is really like. The stable was destroyed, apparently due to a hurricane. The horses, in fear, break out of the stable and run away. The wind is so strong that the body does not obey. Elam saves her from the collision by asking if everything is okay. He ordered Sela to go inside. His condition looks worse and worse. A tree fell, causing the wall of the hotel's boiler room to collapse. Elam asks that what Sela is about to see be kept secret for the rest of her life. He begins to use magic, accumulating rain around himself. Sela had never seen such beautiful magic in her life. The wall of the stable has collapsed, and now the boiler room is visible. Sela is worried that Elam is overexerting himself. He tells her that it was the magic of the word. He asked if she had the same trident sign on the back of her head. He's going to explain later what this magic means. Suddenly, his nose started bleeding again. Sela asks him to come to his senses, but the bleeding does not stop. For some reason, the Admiral takes such a risk. Sela asks him to stop, saying that she will call people. Elim's magical power is leaking through a wound in his body. As he intertwines his fingers with Sela, her magic begins to flow into his body, and thus the fire is finally extinguished. Elim thanks Sela for her help, although in fact, she did almost nothing. He said they were going to the room, not the hospital. There, Sela brings Elim to the bath, as he said. As he lay down, Sela noticed something strange. It was as if she had just seen Siren. His beautiful fins only confirm that he is a siren. This wasn't in the original, where they said he was a dangerous villain. It looks like he's actually recovering in the water. It would be awkward if Elim woke up now. He had used so many tricks to keep Sela close. But to fulfill her dream, Sela must push him away. Suddenly, Elim opens his eyes, unexpectedly for her. The Admiral asks Sela to stay. After this, he falls back into the water, and Sela with him. She feels like her heart is about to jump out. He holds her hand so tightly that Sela can't break free. Sela asked why he asked her not to leave. Maybe he comes to his senses when her mana flows into him. Elim will interfere with Sela's dream if she stays here, but only this time she will stay close. Sela still wants to get out of this awkward position. In the morning, Elim woke up in bed. Luckily, his mana was restored. Russell runs into his room. Elim asked if Sela was still there, but Russell remembered being horrified by her words. Sela told him that Elim was a siren. Russell thinks Sela has gone crazy, but it seems that she secretly left the hotel, and a week passed since the Admiral lost consciousness. Sela boarded a passenger ship to Multana. She also took things from the apartment where she had lived before. There is a villa in Multan, where Elaim was planning to organize his vacation. He orders a pursuit of the passenger ship. Thus, 3 more days pass. Sela considered options for where she could live. She saw in the newspaper that someone was looking for a seakeeper. Sela thought that Elim would soon catch up with her. Surely he already understood where she was heading. She plans to swim if Elim catches up with her. And Plan B is negotiations. The passenger ship suddenly stopped. They say a warship is conducting an inspection. Sel can't believe they caught up so quickly. Elim looks quite intact. Sela realized it was time to move on to Plan B. If Elim has a reputation, he won't jump into the sea in front of a crowd. Elim jumped from his ship to his. Sel needs to get out of here quickly. Elim asks her to stop, but she is not going to do so. Sela dives into the water in a wetsuit without any problems. Elim was in a hurry and did something that was not typical for him. From here to Multana, even by boat, it takes 2 hours. Russell asks what the Admiral will do now. Elim leaves this place to Russell, and he himself jumps into the water after Sela. Rumors are already circulating that this is a love affair. Sela wants to swim to Multara, admiring the sea. The fish are behaving strangely. Sela turned around and saw a whirlpool. And already then, she noticed that it was Elim. Sela is surprised that he abandoned his ship. She noticed that he was sending her a telepathic message. Elim says that sailing to Multana without an escort is dangerous. He traps Sela in a barrier and she can't get out. Elim warned that knocking was dangerous. She asked if this was his gratitude for his help. Elmar apologized. He has no excuses. Sela wants him to admit that it was a crime. A lot of dolphins swam to Sela. Elim said that it was not he who called them. Behind the other dolphins was a white one. The net on the tail was caught in the skin. The dolphin was injured. This dolphin needs help before it gets left behind. Since Sela has a knife, she can help. Soon she was able to free the dolphin. Salt water may get into the wound. Elim also helps him with his power. There are no bad people among those who treat animals well. Dolphin says thank you to Sela. Now it's time to release him to the pack. After this, the Admiral for some reason fell silent. Elim asked if she would give him a chance to correct his mistake. Now, the situation is turning in Sela's favor. Let her damage to the siren race be considered non-existent. With the remaining debt, she wants to buy a secluded house in Moltar. The sea here is clean and you can see a lot of marine life. Elim agrees and accepts her proposal. But first, he needs to earn her trust. It uses ancient magic that the Siren family uses for important oaths. Therefore, Elim vows to repay Sela's debt. And if he breaks this oath, the chains of the spell will stop his heart. Elim asked if she believed him now. Sela didn't expect him to go to such extremes. There seems to be no middle ground. Before signing the contract, Elim has to ask something. He decided to find out where Sela planned to live in Multana. Sela thought he asked, so he could keep an eye on her later. She knows his secret and can use magic. Elim wants her to become part of the Sirens so he can protect her. All he asks is to just be there. This is a dream job. Get paid without doing anything. Sela promises to never tell anyone who the admiral is. But Elayim doesn't know how to believe these words. Maybe decades later, Sela will forget and make a mistake. But Sela doesn't want to live under supervision. But there is a way that will suit both of them. Sela decided to use the magic of the oath spell. Elim did cast a spell on his own heart. So Sela also swears that she will keep the secret for the rest of her life. Elim is surprised how she did it. But simulating the spell is simply not enough. Elim said the matter was postponed. Sela asks him to teach her such magic, but this magic can kill her if it's done wrong. The admiral used it because he is a siren and not a human. If Sela can stop her heart because of a violation, then there is no need for a warden. If there is a more reliable way than this, Sela is ready to follow it. It will take about a year to master this magic. And because Sela is human, the chance of success is only 10%. Even if the magic fails, Elim will be there. But if it works out, Sela asks not to follow her. It's better to study magic after Sela buys a house. First, she wants to visit Leia's forest. They say the Keeper of the Sea is looking for a successor, and he will sell the house at a cheap price. If she goes there, Elim can give her a lift on a military ship. Soon they finally arrived in Multana. The sea is bluer than the sky. The sun is blinding. Crystal clear water through which everything can be seen, even rare marine animals that you just can't find. It seems she saw those very dolphins. Sela really dreamed of this place. She even felt like crying for a moment. Elim pays for the house, and the Duke's compensation will last a lifetime. The house that is visible seems to be her home. The house is several times larger than Sela imagined. There is even a pier in front of it. There are even dolphin neighbors here. Sela suddenly noticed a small house next to the huge one. Elim thought she meant another house. Sela quickly realized that that beautiful house was not hers. Elim always gets in her way, and it irritates Sela. That little house is where Sela is heading. It's the perfect size for one person. Sela must decide everything thoughtfully. The Seakeeper monitors the water quality and the marine ecosystem. In her past life, the heroine also studied oceanography. The inside of the hut was simply beautiful. Sela simply has to become the next Seakeeper, and even if she has to become Elim's neighbor. Sela liked both the house and the job very much. The admiral thinks that she will be able to meet with the caretaker tomorrow. Sela is very happy about this. Today, she will spend the night in the admiral's villa. Sela looked very happy. In front of Elayim, her face was always serious. It's the first time he's seen her with that expression. If Sela hadn't liked it, she would have run away long ago. Every time we met, she ran away as if from some kind of beast. But Miss Sela turned out to be a real treasure. She relieved the admiral of his headache in one fell swoop. It's very rare that someone would praise you for something like that. Russell considers Sela to be an otter that brings good luck. As long as Russell is here, there will be no boredom. In my past life, it was difficult to see beauty due to environmental pollution. Seeing this in person was much cooler. Sela can't believe she's actually in Molten. It's interesting how different the underwater world is from what it was in the past. It's just incredible to see such a beautiful place every day. Unexpectedly, Sela came across dead corals. Everything is fine in other places, but here, something is wrong. Maybe it's some kind of epidemic. You need to meet the caretaker and ask him. But first, Sela gets out onto dry land. On the shore, she saw a girl who was looking at her strangely. She said that the admiral was inviting her to dinner. Sela will just ask him about the Seakeeper. The food tasted amazing. The caretaker is the water caretaker at the villa, hired by the admiral. He will recommend Sela to him as his successor. Sela has already decided to become part of the Siren family, so everything is fine. She asks to write in the letter that she loves the sea very much, and that she saved a fisherman drowning in the sea. Elim asked if she needed anything else while she was there. Sela asks to give her some parchment and a fountain pen. She needs them for one important matter. The Seakeeper never found a successor. Johnny is worried that he will never be able to find anyone. Johnny's son asks that this job be handed over to him. He is confident that he will learn everything quickly. But he lost the house that Johnny bought him in gambling. They both noticed a man in the water. The caretaker thought the man had drowned. The body of a drowned person must be handled with care. Handing over the body to the family of the deceased is also part of the job. Suddenly, they saw that the body was moving. Sela emerged and greeted them. They see for the first time a girl who swims wildly in the sea. You can tell she truly loves the sea. The sailors bid her farewell, calling her a fisherman's hero. Russell said that Sela is their treasure. He asks the caretaker to look at the letter of recommendation from the admiral. Soon, Sela meets the caretaker. Johnny's son can't believe he's actually going to accept her. Johnny sends his son away to avoid making a noise. He asks Sela for forgiveness for his son. Sela will call him Teacher Johnny. Sela explained what the caretaker's job entails. She will have to use the method she learned at university. She starts by praising Johnny's accomplishments. She was the first one to show such interest in this. Then Sela becomes curious. She then asks him to look at the research report. For people of the professorial type, the main desire is to learn. After this, Sela shows her enthusiasm. She went out early in the morning, finished her research, and wrote a report. The report is compiled very systematically. Sela can't say she learned this at university. It was hard, but interesting. Johnny heard that she used to work on a passenger ship. The heroine's life has always been connected with the sea. When there were no clients, she read books right at work. One day, while thinking about the book, Johnny broke a barrel of honey. Johnny approves of Sela because she suits them. If it were up to him, he would want her to be his successor. But he asks her for a week's trial period. She will be able to work slowly, thinking about whether it is right for her. He must be worried about the sea. Sela agreed without any problem. She also wanted to ask about dead corals. Johnny said that they had better change places to explain. Wastewater is collected and sent to treatment facilities. But the villa manager, in order to save on cleaning, dumped them directly into the sea. Luckily, he is now in prison. Domestic wastewater is no longer discharged. It was Johnny's job, but even though he failed, Elim didn't fire him. Treating diseased corals is incredibly difficult. Sela asks to entrust this matter to her. As a future seakeeper, she will solve this problem. Sela noticed algae on the rocks. For some reason, Johnny looked at her strangely. This algae is called Johnny hair. No one gave them names except Johnny himself. And Sela found out why the corals are dying. Domestic wastewater becomes too much when discharged. For algae, they are nutrients. Corals are living creatures that are sensitive to water. Once oxygen levels stabilize, corals will be able to grow normally. Sela came up with an idea for what to do with the seaweed. Unexpectedly, she suggested eating them. Johnny's son still can't believe that Sela will be the successor. In a week, they will sign an official contract. The admiral is already aware. Everything has been decided. But Johnny's son had heard suspicious rumors about Sela. She is supposedly a spy sent by another clan. The admiral rented a room for her in the residence and even dined with her. Sela collected a pile of seaweed. Now you can cook a lot of dishes. Johnny thinks this girl is just weird. It tastes like seaweed. Johnny hopes that everything will be okay. In a past life, seaweed was a delicacy. It can be dried and made into seasoned seaweed. Sela asks to bring everything for drying seaweed. To begin, they place a clean picture frame on a drying rack. Then, carefully distribute the algae inside the frame. In 5 hours, they will have delicious seaweed. There is one more person to whom Sela is grateful. Now she is not at all angry with Elim. There will be a lot of seaweed, so we need to prepare some food for him too. Sela decides to take a little rest at sea. Elim wondered how he would tell his mother about this. She travels around the world in search of a cure for his illness. Elim would like his mother to start living for herself. He will ask her not to look for the cure anymore. After all, thanks to Sela, he feels better. However, if she becomes closely associated with the Siren clan, Sela could be in danger. Through the window, the admiral saw that Sela had climbed into the sea again. It won't take long to catch a cold. Looking at her, it's like you can smell the fresh scent of lemon. Russell asked who he was looking at so intently. He thought Elim was looking at the seaweed. He showed what Ella would cook food from. Because of this, the servants look at her kindly. Her servants must be informed that the admiral is her patron. They both noticed a strange guy in the hut. It turned out to be Johnny's son, but they were both surprised that he was still here. The admiral asks that people be assigned to Johnny's son. The dried seaweed turned out to be incredibly tasty. The heroine misses the Korean dishes from her past life, but now at least she has the kim she made. Johnny also smelled the delicious aroma. Sela decided to name it Jomakim, and with this Jomakim, she will make kimbap. Sela called it Hawaiian kimbap. She really hopes that he will like it. The most delicate omelet, juicy juice, meat, and seafood aromas. Johnny really liked this dish. There is no taste of mud in this house at all. He became convinced that Sela was the best candidate to succeed him. Such an ideal successor cannot be found anywhere else. Johnny will wash the dishes for now, and he asks Sela to do some more. Even Russell, being outside, smelled a wonderful smell. Sela was just about to make kimbap for the admiral. For several hours now, a pleasant aroma had been coming from the hut. Elim doesn't know why he wanted to try it. He wonders where Jomakim came from. The more Elim learns about Sela, the more questions he has. He wondered if he could learn more about her while they were together. And he liked the taste of kimbap. Elam ate every last crumb. Russell asks him to try the jomikim separately. It can be eaten with dried squid and drink. The Admiral wondered what Sella might need. Russell offers to have a drink with him. Elam thought one sip was okay. He needs to thank Sella for the food. It's always quiet at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sella suddenly received a letter through the maid. The letter told me to find a painting in the hallway. Suddenly, Elam's voice was heard from there. Suddenly, a passage appeared in front of the girl. As soon as she entered, she was blinded by a bright light. Then Elam himself appeared. Sella was a little scared by this light. It turned out to be the Admiral's secret workshop. Even his servants don't know about her. Sella thought that magic lessons were about to begin. She even thinks his coffee is made from fantastic ingredients imbued with magic. These ingredients are collected in a place created by the sirens. Sella wanted to go there and explore the unknown seas. Next time, Elaine will tell her about this place. Coffee has an excellent pain-relieving effect. The Admiral shares a piece of cake with Sella. Maybe it's gratitude for the Hawaiian kimbap? Sella feels awkward because she has never been treated like this before. Elam asked how she was able to use word magic for the first time. Sella would have to tell someday anyway. She could not talk in detail about her past life. So she told how she got caught in a storm, fell into the sea, met a siren, and awakened magic within herself. Maybe this is a bonus of getting to another world. At that time, Sella thought it was just a vision. But among them, there are no sirens capable of awakening magic. Sella's magic is similar to that used by the sirens. Elam knows how to best train Sella. There is an exit here that connects to the sea. He will try to live up to the girl's expectations. And this time, she is not so afraid to take his hand. Elam said the kimbap wasn't that bad. Since he shared with her the cure for fatigue, she will share the seaweed. In gratitude for the kimbap, Elam walks her home. It gives off a fresh scent, similar to the smell of the sea. Lifting the girl into his arms, the Admiral asks her to hold on tighter. After diving into the cold water, they found themselves in the sea. The sea at night is not like it is during the day. Elam asks Sella if she liked the sea at dawn. When Elam goes out to sea, his appearance is changed by magic. Here the coral reefs are still covered with algae. Elam will teach her how to create sea currents using magic. She can't create a current just by studying magic. First, you need to create a whirlpool and then change its direction. If you control it freely, you can recreate currents. Sella wanted to try it right away. But when she did it, nothing happened. Elam already knew that she wouldn't succeed. When studying magic, voice and imagination are important. Since Sella is not a siren, she must clearly represent the image. Sella already uses a little word magic. Elam asks her to remember what happened when she fell into the sea. The key to word magic is to imagine vivid images. Just like last time, you need to imagine something familiar. The tool Sella used to collect seaweed, and then she really succeeded. Sella promises to collect more seaweed today. Elam will look forward to their magic lessons. That's why he can see Sella smiling. At this moment, Johnny's son finds the documents. He wants to have sex with Sella once and for all. Elam is preparing a medicine that will help Sella. This will be a protective cream for the skin. Suddenly, his head started to hurt again. The pain returns because Sella's magical power has begun to fade. Johnny asks Sella not to overwork herself. If she gets tired, trouble might happen. For his sake, Sella promises to be careful. The seaweed turned out really great. Sella will collect 8/10 of the harvest within 3 days. Only fishermen were able to successfully grow anything in the sea. It is necessary to grow nori seaweed on nets. The girl said that she read this in books. Johnny recommends his wife. She can handle it quite well. If the venture is successful, Sella will definitely share the nori. Now all that remains is to move the dryer. The Admiral suddenly appears, declaring that this is a troublesome matter. A person should take care of himself physically in moderation. You can't live here if you get sick. Elam somehow darkened after her words. He hands the girl some skin protection product. Sella feels his magical power in him. Over the course of a month, you need to add 1 drop of this remedy to the censer. Sella never thought the day would come when she would be touched by a dark villain. When Elam felt pain again, he hurried away. Now his face is paler than usual. But the Admiral asks not to pay attention. Maybe he overexerted himself in his sick state. Sella wanted to thank him for this remedy. Thus, 3 days pass. Johnny plans to surprise Sella at dinner by presenting her with the deeds for the house. Today, the successor to the Seakeeper will finally be officially appointed. After they removed the algae, the corals recovered. Johnny is happy that he has found a good successor. His wife asks him to help her put food on the table. Sella didn't expect that they would prepare so much for her. Sella would like to learn to cook as well as his wife. It was not for nothing that they did all this. because Sela eats well. As of today, she officially becomes the successor. Sela promises to work hard. All that remains for her to do is sign the document. But seeing the documents, Sela became thoughtful. She thought she had to rewrite the content herself. For some reason, all the sheets turned out to be blank. All this time, there was no one in the house except Johnny and Melanie. This is how Johnny realized that his son Wayne had stolen the documents. Wayne stole the documents as he promised the bandits. He wanted to leave home without his parents noticing. They were going to assign him to spy on the admiral. The boss of the criminal organization, Hook, said that Wayne was finished. They tried to place a spy in the admiral's villa. Russell came to them, asking if he was distracting them. Wayne doesn't understand what the admiral's assistant is doing here. Wayne, mired in debt, borrowed money from Hook. A hook is a person who is involved in human trafficking. The admiral learned that the pirate cult worships the seabed. They capture ships to sacrifice civilians. If they take Hook hostage, they will learn the route to the pirates. Elim orders that he be captured when the time comes. Russell didn't think this moment would come so soon. He asks them not to even think about running away. Russell orders his men to destroy every last one of the villains. Hook asked who he thought he was to start a fight. But Russell asked him where he was going. He is not afraid of Hook, and he attacks him first. His guys also dealt with the rest. The admiral has the right to sentence them to death. Russell asked Hook if he knew the leader of the pirate cult. Hook is familiar with him, and all the information is in the vault. Russell was ordered to shoot Wayne if he resisted. Wayne is still alive only thanks to the admiral. And for this, he will pay with his life. Russell won't be lenient with him because of Johnny. Johnny couldn't cope with his own son. He had the feeling that life no longer had meaning. But the admiral decided to exact a price for Wayne's life. He will work on the ship without pay for 10 years. Elim shows him minimal politeness. Johnny can't believe this literal miracle. Johnny apologizes for not being able to control his son. Elim asks you to hand over your duties and leave this place, and let Johnny dare to doubt his decision. Johnny wanted to say a proper goodbye to the admiral. Elim was the only one who treated Johnny with respect. He thanks him for trusting him. Elim felt a headache once again. Johnny turned around and saw that he was already lying on the table. Sela is confident that everything will be in order with the documents. In the original story, Elim had great influence in the underworld. That's why he had countless spies. Even Duke Herbert lost him in the information war. Sela is worried about Mr. Joe. She decided to go and check out the situation. She heard that the admiral was unconscious. Johnny panicked and reported that Elim had fallen for no apparent reason. They were going to call a doctor. But Sela knows that calling a doctor is useless. She remembers that his condition improved thanks to her mana. That's why Elim needs her now. Sela told them that the doctor couldn't help. First, they need to find Russell and tell him what happened. And Sela asks you to rely on her. The maids don't understand why she's here. They thought she was someone special. Sela said she came to do her duty. The maids were surprised when the admiral let her in. Sela came to help him. He started to fall, but the girl managed to catch him. It seems Elaim broke the glass when he tried to return. It looks like he is in a lot of pain. Let him take as much mana as he can until it gets easier. Sela hopes he is getting better. As he got closer, the girl's heart began to beat faster. The situation is terribly awkward. In this state, Elim is like a defenseless child. Sela feels like she's being hugged by a bear. First, she moved him to the sofa. To ensure his recovery, we need to infuse power into him. Sela focuses on her actions. Now Sela can tell what exactly the magic interacts with, but she doesn't understand what this hole in his body is. It seems that energy absorption has stopped. This means that Elim will be okay. The next moment, the man opened his eyes. Sela began to bombard him with questions about his condition. But, realizing how close she was sitting, the girl moved away. Elim said he was feeling much better, and all this is only thanks to Sela. He is sure that she has accumulated a lot of questions. He had a hole in his chest that was sucking away his magic. The admiral said it was the heart of a siren. It is the second heart and regulates energy. Elim's heart is defective. There is a hole in it. It's more like an invisible concentration of magic. Headache is one of the symptoms. Now Sela understood why there was so little magic in his body. Other sirens cannot heal the admiral. He has only 3 years left to live. All his predecessors died at an early age. The one who lived the longest was 30. Sela doesn't understand how he can be so unperturbed. Now she understood why he always acted as if he was innocent. In the original, he unexpectedly handed over the title of Archduke to his younger brother and resigned. Being on the brink of death, he was incapable of anything. Sela can't let him die like this. Sela began to open up to him and get used to the admiral. And now she needs to change this ending of Elim. Sella said she had something to say. She asked the admiral if they could be friends. Elim didn't expect such a question at all. She decided to borrow a jar of shells for a while. She wants to try to explain it to him visually. Her gratitude to the admiral was negative. Not even zero, but in the minus. Back then, their relationship was like a broken glass bottle. But recently, this bottle has changed. The cracks and chips have completely healed. Once they reach a point, they can begin to accumulate favor. Because her opinion of him had changed a lot. Elim has already gained 20 favor points. Sella's neighbors and colleagues had 0 points each. 20 points for her is the friend level. The highest score is 100. And you can get them thanks to the sea. Elim told her how incredible she was. He is her first friend to score 20 points. Sella will share her energy with him while he is in Multana. The admiral asked why she was trying so hard for him. Sella gives him a huge discount since he is her friend. But she also owes him something. He gave her the opportunity to live by the beautiful sea. So Sella would like to thank him for his kindness. Elim will strive to become a 50-point friend. Sella is one of those people who is not easy to get close to. Elim asks her to return the remaining shells to the jar. His sister would prefer that no one use them like that. Sella is worried that they might crack. She finally hands him the shells. She thinks that he needs to do nothing for a month and rest. He was constantly straining himself and working. If she allows him to occupy her lap right now, he will take this advice. He lays his head on her lap. He needs to get comfortable and rest, as Sella said. But that's not quite what she meant. In the end, the admiral even falls asleep. Sella gave him enough energy, but for some reason, he continues to maintain physical contact. If he wanted to rest, he could do so in his bedroom. For now, Sella will just sit and admire his handsome face. Elim has been through a lot. He needs to get some good sleep. There was a noise from the other side of the door. A worried Russell bursts into the room. He froze on the threshold when he saw that the admiral had fallen asleep. Russell wanted to say something, but Sella asked him to remain silent. Russell asks her to take care of the admiral. He is glad that their admiral has such a blessing. Sella finally completed the paperwork for the transfer of the house. Dreams come true, and now this house is truly hers. Johnny, who is carrying his things, drops everything from his hands, not for the first time. Sella suggests that he not rest, because there is no need to rush anywhere. But Johnny was ordered to leave the villa today. He is already ashamed in front of Sella and the admiral. Whenever Sella asked him something, he always answered kindly. She thought that she would visit him often. Johnny gives her a notebook with information that will help her as a seakeeper. If Sella sends letters to the specified addresses, these people will help her. Sella promises to definitely take advantage of this. Sella's chest tightened as if she had swallowed a stone. A letter suddenly fell out of the notebook. It bears the seal of the Siren family, and the handwriting is sloppy, as if a child had written it. This was written by little Elim, who appointed Johnny as the keeper of the sea. It was 20 years ago. The bond between them is stronger than Sella thought. The reason Johnny cherished Elim was because he had looked after him for so long. Thanks to Elim's hiring, Johnny lived his entire life as a caretaker of the sea. Since Johnny helped Sella, now she wants to help him. Sella shouts at him that he forgot to give her the cup and that he should bring it in the evening. This way, he will have a reason to come back here. Before Johnny returns, Sella goes to Elim. It's been a long time since the admiral has been lying around doing nothing. It had been a long time since he had last felt warmth. Maybe he really should take a rest. Russell was annoying and noisy all the time. In the doorway, Elim runs into Sella. The admiral asked what brought her here. But a friend can come without a reason. It's a good thing Elim saved that glass jar. Sella has a proposition for him as a friend. He offers to sit next to him so we can talk. Using verbal magic, Elim summoned dishes and desserts. Sella asks him to give Mr. Joe a little more time. It must be difficult for him to up and leave in one day. For some reason, Elim thought she would ask for help with the hut. Sella wants to hear an answer as to why he wants Joe to leave today. Because he is a criminal, although he did not steal the documents. But Joe is this man's son, and he must be responsible for him. He may not have been able to stop his son, but he served as a seakeeper for many years. Sella thinks that the admiral was driven by emotions at that moment. He trusted John so much that he was disappointed. But friends can always share their most intimate secrets. That's why Sella wants to hear the admiral's story. Of course, she doesn't force him. Elim doesn't remember her showing him an insecure side. He remembers her telling him he deserved 20 points. Maybe that's why she shows her clumsy side. Because she never had a friend. But Elim always lived and doubted others. But he thinks he can trust Sella with what's on his mind. When he made his decision about Johnny, he really did think it was strange. Elim justified himself by saying that he was simply that kind of person. He was deliberately rude because sinners must be punished. Elim realizes that he has allowed his emotions to cloud his judgment. The greater the trust, the more often disappointment turns into anger. Elim must have trusted Johnny a lot. Maybe that's why he couldn't make an objective decision. He was really harsh with Johnny because of his son. Elim thinks Johnny hates him, but Sela doesn't think so at all. She gave him the letter he wrote as a child to read. Johnny is grateful to the Admiral for allowing him to become a sea warden. Johnny hates himself more because he is a person with a sense of responsibility. When they think of each other, their hearts can be as calm as the sea. Elim realizes how awkward it is to follow Sela's words. This place is like a treasure for Johnny. In recognition of his services, Elim will allow Johnny to continue visiting the sea. Finding herself unexpectedly close, Sela thanks him. She felt relieved by his decision. And Sela asks him not to pretend that he does too. The Admiral asked how many friendship points Johnny had, and Sela said 10. Then the Admiral will have to work on increasing his points. One more obstacle has been overcome. Sela is glad that Elim now considers her his friend. She never had a real friend, but still, she became friends with the villain. In the original, Elim was only shown face-to-face with the main character. But maybe Elim, who showed his inner experiences, is the real one. Mr. Joe needs to hear this good news too. Sela is going to cook something for Elim too. Her surprise will be a dish of abalone. These are flat stone snails. And the theme of today's dinner was a feast of stone snails. Sela prepared this especially for Johnny and Elim. Johnny came and brought a fishing net. She asks to leave her outside to make it more comfortable. And before he leaves, Johnny needs to eat. He can't believe that Sela cooked food for him to support him. She also prepared a gift for his wife. The food was so delicious that Johnny almost cried. Thanks to this food, he began to feel more energetic. Sela asked if she could write him letters if problems arose. Johnny asked how things were at the sea, but Sela suggested that he come and see for himself. But Johnny said he couldn't do it anymore. The Admiral who arrived asked Johnny to come out to him. Johnny didn't expect the Admiral to come in person. Sela says he didn't come to punish him. Elim tells Johnny that they need to talk. He doesn't exude hostility like he used to. Sela asks him not to worry and just go. She hopes that they can discuss everything. Russell reacts to the gift in a rather overly bright way. It turned out to be a 30-year-old Bunny Blue. This is a rare whiskey that has not been on the market for over 10 years. Maybe tomorrow the sun will rise in the west. Because the Admiral was not working today. He worked for so many years without rest, even at the villa. Russell was worried and suggested that he take a rest, but he did not agree. The Admiral's headaches became more severe, and no treatments helped. Russell was worried, but thanks to Sela, everything was resolved. Before this, the Admiral had never listened to anyone. Russell asks her to continue to help with the treatment. Elim was lucky to have such a loyal subordinate by his side. Russell promises Sela to actively support her. Sela agrees, because she and the Admiral are friends. Russell is confident that she will never regret this decision. In recognition of his services, Johnny Elim allows him entry into Multana. He thinks it's okay if Joe comes here occasionally. Elim neglected his merits because of his son, so he asks for forgiveness. Johnny also thanks him for allowing him to see the sea again. Elim said that he should thank Sela, because it was she who helped him make this decision. What Johnny could never have dreamed of is becoming a reality. Johnny suggests having dinner at Sela's house. When they arrived, Elim found Russell and Sela talking sweetly. This made him jealous, so he told his assistant that they were leaving. Sela and Johnny didn't understand what had come over him. Luckily, they both ended the conversation on a good note. Johnny plans to continue researching marine ecology. Now Sela can finally focus on her work. It's time to start remodeling this cabin. She even borrowed a cart to buy new furniture in town. But here, instead of a cart, there was a carriage. Elim is going to accompany the girl around town. Russell shares that the Admiral has not worked for 2 days. Elim hears them whispering. Sela will go with him to the city so he can work. Already in the carriage, Elim said that he was not a workaholic. She seems to trust Russell's words more. But Sela heard that Elim took a day off for the first time in a long time. He remembers how yesterday she cooked for Russell and treated him to drinks. And that's why Elim left. He wonders how many friendship points Russell has. Sela thought for a moment and said about 5. At that moment, Elim's face immediately lit up. Sela is going to tell him about her plans. It turns out that he and Elim will go for furniture together. If a man and a woman go to buy furniture together, they may be mistaken for newlyweds. So they were actually offered to buy a heart-shaped bed. Multana is a popular destination among honeymooners. Elim clarified that Sela is just his friend. The saleswoman immediately asked for forgiveness. Now it has become somehow awkward. It's funny to watch Sella's facial expressions change. It's quite interesting to watch her enjoy the process. Her heart began to beat quickly again. She tries to collect her thoughts. She liked the Mediterranean-style furniture. The master's name was written on it. Sella suggests that the admiral look at a few more options. A few hours later, the girl was already tired. It turns out that even looking at furniture is tiring. Elim will cover all expenses, and the store manager will remove the old furniture from the house. Elim brings Sella his famous freshly squeezed juice. It contains tropical fruits. The juice was so delicious that Sella came back to life. She offers the admiral a try, but it's not his taste. Sella doesn't even know how to thank him for everything. Next time, she will cook something tasty. This will be for the gratitude that he went shopping with her, but he doesn't want her to cook for that reason alone. As he said, just watching Sella is enough for him. Every time she is near Elaine, her heart beats faster. The admiral treated the rest of the staff to drinks. He really takes good care of his subordinates. It turned out that all the craftsmen were busy at the moment. Sella wanted to meet Master Rosie, and at that very moment, she suddenly appeared. She was wearing an outfit from the heroine's favorite movie. She asked Rosie where she could buy a jumpsuit like that. It is sold in an inexpensive men's clothing store. Sella said that her favorite heroine also wore one. She says she bought a lot of furniture for Rosie. Each item is incredibly beautiful. The furniture was created for comfort, without unnecessary interventions. This is the first time Rosie has heard anyone speak so highly of her work. Sella asks her to help her with decorating the house. With her skills, Rosie would be a great help to her. Elim felt as if his personal talisman had been stolen. Rosie is happy to help her. Matte paint is a good choice for interiors. Thanks to Rosie, Sella was able to choose furniture. Rosie can also make a special color request. Sella immediately thought of sea green. This is her favorite color, light blue. The same color as the admiral's hair. Rosie promises to prepare such a color. Elim is popular wherever he goes. Sella admits that he is insanely handsome, but she tries not to think about it too much. The admiral was informed that an island where pirates were hiding had been discovered. Elim needed to return to work. He promises to listen to the report and return immediately. Sella is currently planning to browse the souvenir shops. Elim will return as soon as possible. It's so hard for him to just let himself rest. Sella hopes the shop has decorations that will suit her home. She discovered a watch with a siren tail. Sella takes them and goes to look at the tourist brochures. These are brochures describing tourist places in Multana. Sella is thinking about buying one of these Elima. Someone is going to buy a souvenir for his bride. They laugh, asking if there is anyone here who will suit them. Approaching the checkout, Sella was about to pay for her purchases. Those men are discussing how it is now fashionable to take someone from Multana as a mistress. They say that such women are famous for their simplicity. Sella wants to get out of here as soon as possible to avoid getting into trouble. But one of the men stopped her and asked her name. But Sella didn't understand why she should say it. Other men realized that she had character. This man is pushing her against the wall. Sella said it was bad to do that in broad daylight. The man got angry and was about to hit her, but Sella landed a punch between his legs just in time. After that, she broke free and started running. But something went wrong. She tripped and fell. The man asked if she wanted to know who she had just hit. But Sella isn't going to let this all go. She bites his fingers while he screams and begs to let him go. Suddenly, Elim appeared, asking him to move away from Sella. His face is distorted with anger. Elim asked her if they did this to her. The man is outraged that she bit his hand, but Sella told it like it was. They dared to touch a friend of the Siren family's house. Maybe they've heard how powerful this family is. Eventually, the men were expelled from Multana. They came to the studio where Elim is going to buy all the clothes. Those men justified themselves by saying that they were attracted by her dress. Sella still needs clothes suitable for Multana's climate. Women here wear light and thin clothes. As Sella's patron and friend, Elim had to take care of this. For some reason, he only makes mistakes when it comes to Sella. All that remains is to put the purchases in the carriage. After trying on one dress, she asked how it looked. The admiral didn't notice that his cap was starting to blow away in the wind. Sella asks to hold her while she grabs her cap. The girl barely manages to grab it. She put the cap on her head and asked what he looked like. The admiral feels that something is wrong. My heart suddenly felt uneasy. Sella said he could let her go. The sailors said that Sella's outfit was beautiful. Sella apologized to Elim for taking so much of his energy today, but he apologized for what happened in the gift shop. But more importantly, Sella prepared a gift for him. Elim always came here on vacation, but only to work. Elim doesn't quite understand the difference between what he should do and what he wants to do. When you do what you want, the process brings joy. Before Sela came to Multana, she worked for money. The process itself was never a joy. But when you do what you love, feelings change. After seeing an ad in the newspaper, Sela began working to become a seakeeper. Even coming to the city to buy jewelry makes her happy. Elim seemed to understand the difference. He said that he wanted to visit this city again with Sela. He enjoyed spending time with her today. Next time, they will have dinner together. Sela was afraid that the admiral did not feel the same. She was surprised when Elim laughed loudly. She was the one who asked for friendship first and thinks he's not serious about her. Elim will proudly introduce Sela as his friend. Now Sela's only friends are the sea and the admiral. All this time, someone was secretly photographing them. The next day, Elim went to sea. It's so peaceful and quiet here. Wonderful. He wonders why Sela was so cheerful this time. Maybe she liked his headdress so much. When she smiled at him, it was incredible. Elim finds himself thinking about Sela again. They collide with each other very often. Maybe it's like when you read about someone before going to bed. And that's why Elim thinks about her so often. A dolphin, which Sela saved that time, swims up to him. He seems to have grown a lot since then. His tail healed well. It seems like the dolphin wants to show him something. They emerge from the sea together. The dolphin led the admiral to Sela. They can't see each other now because Sela is busy. It's already late, and Sela hasn't had a single rest. She looks exhausted. Elim must help her. He said that Sela would be happy to see the dolphin again. It was worth spending all day decorating. Rosie, Russell, and the other sailors took care of Sela. She wants to finish the ceiling and rest. It's already past 9. She needs to hurry and finish. It seemed like she heard something from the door. She tensed, wondering who was there. Elim apologized for coming so late. He saw Sela working alone. He suddenly asked why she was holding this watch in her hands. She was about to hit the head of whoever was sneaking here. But she just likes this watch. Elim didn't know she loved sirens so much. Sela specified that she loves all sea fish. She lets the admiral inside. He noticed that she was stained with paint. It's already dried out, and it's not that easy to wash off. Sela panics because he is so close. She doesn't know what people usually say in situations like this. In her mind, she already wants to invite Elim for ramen. He still managed to wash her face. The admiral is going to start from the ceiling. We then move to Duke Herbert's mansion. The weather is nice today, and Maria is glad that the rain has stopped. It reminds her of the day she rode in a carriage to the estate. The maid brings Maria today's newspaper. Her eyes almost popped out of her head from what she saw there. The Duke asked in panic what was going on. The newspaper writes about the admiral's possible mistress. Maria must go. She is worried about Sela's safety. As a result, Sela didn't get any sleep at all. Thanks to Elim, the ceiling painting was completed quickly, and Sela couldn't stop thinking about his beauty. The atmosphere was tense, as if something had happened. One of the maids shows her that she's in today's newspaper. Sela just can't believe her eyes. She hurried to the admiral to tell him, but he, unfortunately, was already aware of the news. Russell thinks it's his fault, but Elim considers it his fault that he recklessly pursued Sela. But Sela says they did nothing wrong. The admiral is worried that this article could harm her. They cannot leave the journalist who wrote this unpunished. Elim's reputation won't be damaged by such a trifle. Sela is unhappy that he is only worried about her and not about himself. She asks him to express his feelings honestly. It cannot be said that it does not matter. In the context of disputes over maritime boundaries, damage to its reputation is a significant misfortune. Elim asked to write a response article. In the original, widespread rumors led to the breakup of the Duke and Mary. Since the heroine changed the plot, this time the object of gossip became the admiral. If Elim's reputation falls, the naval dispute will be decided in the Duke's favor. Before that happens, Sela must catch this dirty journalist. Elim must convey his best wishes to the Duke. If they put pressure on him, it will only make the quarrel worse. The admiral realizes that she is right. The Duke and the admiral had gone too far to listen to each other. But Sela doesn't agree with this. If the Duke gets along with the Duchess, his character has softened. There is a high chance that he will agree to meet with Sela. Therefore, she asks the admiral to send her to negotiate. 10 days later, Mary arrived in Multana. She is glad that she arrived here safely. Some people were outraged that they were encouraging this meeting, as it could be a trap for Maria. But to protect the family, they must confirm the truth. If the scandal turns out to be false, they will be the ones who pay for it. The Duke ignored it because the scandal seemed profitable at the moment. The admiral would never do anything that could harm their family. First of all, they checked the truth. Therefore, the Duke asks Maria to do as she wants. Maria sincerely hopes that nothing happened to Sela. Elim arranged a meeting to warn that the Duke might do something stupid. We need to resolve everything quickly so that the Admiral can rest. Sela asked what he would like to do when it was all over. He said he would like to find the most famous pastry shop in Multana, and then try the best cheesecake with Sela. Elim gives her the artifact, asking her to use it if she is in danger. This artifact is needed to send signals. If you point it at an enemy and blow it, it will disable all enemies. Elim places the artifact around Sela's neck. If something goes wrong, he asks to use the artifact, and he will come to save her, no matter what happens. Sela also prepared a gift for the Duchess. Sela hopes the meeting goes well. Sela meets Maria, greeting her. She noticed that Sela did not look like the one who had been imprisoned. Maria decided to clarify that nothing bad had happened. Sela realized that she must now call her Duchess. Luckily, Maria doesn't see any bruises or injuries. Sela suggests that we sit down and talk first. At least she actually looks good. Sela made kimbap rolls for Maria. Maria wonders what that black leaf is on top. Sela explains that it is fried seaweed. Thinking that Maria would like it, Sela brought an extra portion of seaweed. Maria didn't have time to prepare a gift, but Sela says that's not a big deal. She already gave her a blue diamond. She wonders if there were any difficult moments in Maria's life. Maria remembers how everyone judged her for not being suitable for the Duke. This is the first time someone has asked her something like this out of concern for her. Even after the wedding, the ducal elders continued to keep an eye on her. Sela asked if she had told the Duke about her feelings. He can't avoid Maria just because he's busy. It remains to be more honest with him. It would be good for Mary to rely on the Duke. Instead of worrying alone, they should solve problems together. Sela is actually worried about Maria. Maria doesn't want to hurt him, so she'll try to talk to him. Talking to Sela warms her heart. Maria asked, "What about this scandalous newspaper?" Sela explained that the Admiral supports her dream, and they are friends. She said that Elim is a very good friend. They went furniture shopping, he helped paint the ceiling, and Sela can always rely on him. Maria can't believe that they are really just friends. She thought that she also wanted to be Sela's friend. Sela asked for a meeting to use Maria's experiences to resolve the scandal. She thought that Maria would be able to stop the Duke. Even the gift was, in essence, a bribe for this purpose. Sela is sure that Maria is disappointed in her, but Maria asks her to apologize. A certain waiter said that their dish was ready. For some reason, he had a knife clutched in his hand. The Duke and the Admiral met in the park, not far from the restaurant. The Duke asked how Elim dared to frame him for an informant, but the Admiral thought it was mutual. Although the attempt failed, Gretzog used the caretaker's son as bait. Thanks to this, they destroyed the gambling network. All this credit goes to the Duke, according to the Admiral. Elim asks him to thank his wife for organizing this meeting. The Duke must deal with the scandal and hand the reporter over to Elim. The Duke has blackened Sela's name, and paying £1 million will be less. The Duke said they were here to check whether it was true or not, but Elim is sure that he already knows what the truth is. Suddenly, he heard the familiar sound of that very artifact. Sela was the only one who could make such a sound. In the brightness, Elim asks the Duke what he did to Sela, but the Duke doesn't understand what he's talking about. He thinks that the Admiral is crazy for even thinking about him. Elim realized that the Duke truly looked confused. Someone else took advantage of the discord between the two families. Elim needs to hurry to Sela. Maria may also be in danger, so the Duke should go with him. There is not a minute to lose. We must hurry. Elalim sincerely hopes that Sela